Antonio Brown, a Democrat Atlanta councilman who was just indicted last week on multiple federal fraud charges, is saying that he won't resign. Up until his recent federal indictment, Brown was considered a rising star in the Democrat Party. In 2019, Brown scored a surprise victory to become the first ever black LGBTQ person on the council. He has since taken a prominent role in the racial justice and equality movement in recent months. The Atlanta City Council member has now been indicted on federal fraud charges stemming from loan applications that he made before he was elected to the council. Federal grand jury announced the charges last Wednesday. Brown is charged with wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, and making false statements on a bank loan application. Another article here with more info on the charges against Antonio Brown. They explain how Brown is accused of making false statements about his income and assets when applying to Signature Bank for a loan in 2017. He said he earned $325,000 a year and had $200,000 in assets, whereas other loan applications and his federal income tax return showed much less. Also, beginning in 2012, he had taken out several credit cards and received $60,000 in auto loans, which helped him buy a Mercedes and a Range Rover, but then falsely claimed he was a victim of identity theft and someone else had obtained the credit cards and the loans. Later in the same article, they add that Brown has also called for major changes to the Atlanta Police Department and launched the People's Uprising Task Force, a group tasked with addressing economic inequality, education reform, and criminal justice reform. In June, the group held a demonstration called the Beauty in Colors Rally, commemorating the Stonewall riots and demanding equality for Black transgender people. Last Thursday, Brown followed up with a statement saying that he planned to fight the charges and did not intend to resign. Brown wrote in a tweet on Thursday, quote, "The people that have walked alongside me know my heart, sense of integrity, and relentless passion to fight for the least of these. God has been preparing me for such a time as this. I've overcome greater, my spirit is strong, and I place my faith in God's plan." DOJ press release here from last week includes this quote that says, "For years, Antonio Brown allegedly sought to defraud a number of banks and credit card companies by falsely claiming that he was the victim of identity theft. Brown's scheme was eventually brought to light, resulting in his indictment by the grand jury." Meanwhile, other Democrats and friends of Brown are saying that they're outraged by the charges. They highlight some more interesting reactions to the charges in this article with the title "Federal Indictment Halts Momentum of Rising Star in Progressive Politics." Article explains that the immediate reaction from the political community has been a mix of disappointment, outrage, and fear. They remind us that Atlanta has been under federal scrutiny for years, particularly in the administration of contracts for the Watershed Department. Just last month, federal prosecutors charged former Atlanta Watershed Commissioner Joanne Macrina with conspiratorial bribery and tax evasion in connection with money and other items of value, such as jewelry, a room at a luxury hotel in Dubai, and landscaping work at her home that she accepted from City of Atlanta contractor Jeff Jafari. Same article continues saying, "But the turmoil of recent weeks and the political polarization of the hour raises questions for activists about any federal law enforcement activities." Devin Barrington Ward, who is friends with Antonio Brown, was a failed former candidate for the state senate in Atlanta. Can be seen here with fellow losing candidate from the Democrat Party, Stacey Abrams. As many likely know, Abrams is still being considered as a possible running mate for Joe Biden, despite having lost the Georgia governor's race. Outside of his failing political career, Devin Barrington Ward is also the founder and managing director for the Black Futurists Group. His organization is a social justice innovation firm that works on public policy, community organizing, the media, and other tools to ensure an equitable and liberated future for Black people. Ward explains how he came to be involved with public policy after working with Stacey Abrams on her 2006 race for the Georgia House of Representatives. He says he thinks this is the best way to bring out change. Article says that the Black Futurists group was focusing on defunding the police even before it became a hashtag. So again, it sounds like Devin Barrington Ward is not happy to hear about the news of these charges against his friend Antonio Brown. Quote from last week says, "Don't be so quick to throw Councilmember Antonio Brown away," said Devin Barrington Ward, a former candidate for the state Senate in Atlanta and a friend of Brown's. Ward continued, saying, "I still can't see Donald Trump's tax returns, Roger Stone is free, and the president still owes money to Russia. But the feds can prioritize what Brown allegedly did before he took office. What I do know is he is the only elected official in Georgia to offer a bill to defund the police and reimagine public safety, and it almost passed." Jumping back to another article, they explain how Brown's initiatives received pushback from longer-serving members, even in the Black community. 5 out of 8 Black city council people voted against his initial measure to sequester about $80 million in police funding, for example. Finally, we can look at a few more details on this separate ongoing corruption case also taking place in Atlanta. Title here, former City of Atlanta Watershed Commissioner indicted on bribery charge. Article from last month describes the charges against Joanne Macrona. Later on in the article, they note that this same scandal has already taken down other city officials. The allegations also involve former city procurement officer Adam Smith, who was sent to federal prison for 2 years and 3 months in 2018 for conspiring to accept more than $40,000 in bribe payments. Another quote from later in the same article reads, "Macrona allegedly decided that accepting bribes from Jafari was more important than following the rules established for contracting by the City of Atlanta, and thereby betrayed the public's trust. In exchange for those bribe payments, Macrona manipulated the evaluation process to direct work to Jafari's firm." In another statement, meanwhile, Chris Hacker, special agent in charge of FBI Atlanta, said, quote, "Circumventing the process to hire contractors for the city by accepting bribes to profit personally is the highest form of public corruption. It is extremely disturbing when the person alleged to have accepted bribes is the head of a department. Our public corruption squad is determined to hold those serving the public in positions of trust accountable." Finally, they note here that at least 10 former city employees or contractors have been charged in the City Hall corruption investigation dating back to January of 2017. The list includes other influential names such as Mitzi Bickers, who served as Atlanta's Director of Human Services, as well as Katrina Taylor Parks, who we previously covered on this channel. She served as then Mayor Kasem Reed's Deputy Chief of Staff, along with Jafari and others. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this recent update. If you could give this video a thumbs up, click the like button, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. As usual, I'd like to thank everybody who has supported the channel over at Patreon or PayPal, also with your super chats as well. Even a few dollars makes a huge difference and helps me keep talking about these issues. Patreon.com/realityreader or paypal.me/realityreader. You can find both links down in the video description where you can support this channel directly. And another quick reminder, you can also find me on Twitter for more updates. @realityreader is my name over on Twitter. I will follow up soon. Thanks again.